seed. To you, it shall be for food. Genesis 1:29. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. Psalm 78:25. Everyday Manna with Lisa.
Hi everybody, today we are going to be making some new recipes for you. We're going to make a cheesy chicken casserole that is so simple to make. Then we're going to make an oldie but a goodie that was one of my mother's favorite things to eat, and that's the old-fashioned Watergate salad. And then we're going to serve some biscuit bites alongside of our casserole. So let's get started with the casserole. Now my oven is preheated to 375 degrees, and this is an all-in-one pot meal that is so simple. Now in this bowl, I have about a cup and a half of water, and I have 1 can of cream of chicken soup, just the soup concentrate. You could use cream of celery if you wanted. You could use cream of chicken, cream of mushroom. This is cream of chicken. We're going to put that in there, and we're going to whisk that together just to kind of combine that soup with the water. I have in this little bowl just about a teaspoon of just the dried minced onion flakes. Now you could use onion powder, or you could mix in some, a finely minced onion if you wanted to. Got some chicken pieces in there in that soup, and I'm gonna pour this in the bottom of a casserole dish. Then to that, let me move it up here. Those are just little bits of chicken out of the soup, which is fine. We're gonna add 1 cup of instant rice, just plain old instant rice, not cooked, just straight raw rice. Then 1 bag, or about 2 cups or so, of just frozen vegetables, whatever blend you like. This blend, these are still frozen, so I'm gonna kind of separate the pieces out. This has broccoli, carrots, sugar snap peas, which are what these are. These are sugar snap peas, and they're so good. And some, let's see, broccoli, sugar snap peas, carrots, and water chestnuts. Just a frozen vegetable blend. You can use whatever kind that you like. Or you could, you really could leave them out. Stir that in with the rice and the soup. Now, is this easy so far? I think so. I think it's very easy and very good. Just, mix it to where every little bit is going to get some of each vegetable. Then we have some chicken breasts. Now these are 6 boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and they're all about the same size. Now sometimes when you buy chicken breasts, you will have one end that's fatter than the other. If that is the case, you need to pound them out with a rolling pin or a meat mallet until they're all about the same size, which these are. And I'm going to season them with a little bit of salt, because remember I didn't add any salt to that, because that soup is quite salty. And some pepper. This is a very lean protein, the chicken. If you like thighs, if you like dark meat, you by all means could use some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I just myself prefer white meat, but if I was cooking this for my son and my husband, one of my sons, Austin likes the white meat like I do, and Aaron likes the dark meat. So I would mix boneless, skinless chicken thighs and breasts. If you're going to do thighs, it's going to need to cook a few more minutes. If you're going to do a mixture of thighs and breasts, then you need to put the thighs in first. Let them go, say 15 minutes, and then add your chicken breast. Because dark meat cooks fast or slower than the white meat. And then just lay these over top of your vegetables. And as the chicken cooks, it is going to release the juices. And it's going to mix in with that, and it's going to be delicious. Just nestle them in there. Just like that. And remember, anytime that you're working with raw poultry, anything that touches that raw poultry gets immediately put in the sink or the dishwasher. If you touch it, your hands need to get washed and, you know, clean, because you do not want to cross-contaminate your stuff. So all my dishes are going to go in the sink. Excuse me, that was loud. And then we're going to top this with some shredded cheddar cheese. You could use Swiss, you could use Colby, you could use any kind of cheese you really wanted. And the cheese will melt and go down in that sauce a little bit. Just a little bit of cheese on each one. Then you're going to cover it with some foil. And you're going to put it in your oven, and it's going to bake for about 30 minutes. If you're doing thighs, you're going to need about probably 45 minutes. It's just going to bake. I'm sealing that in because I want to hold in the heat. So let's take this to the oven, and we're going to put it in and let it bake. And there you go. That just needs to bake for about 30 minutes. I'm going to take a quick break, going to clean up, and when I come back, we're going to make one of my mother's favorite things, Watergate salad. I'll be back in just a minute. All right, now welcome back. We are going to make one of my mother's favorite things, and she loved the flavor of pistachio. So an old classic, I don't know when this recipe was originally created, years and years and years and decades ago, but it's the old-fashioned Watergate salad. But, you know, some things just are good throughout the ages, and this is one of them. Now, in this bowl, I have 1 carton of thawed, frozen, the frozen whipped topping that we know what I'm talking about. It's thawed, and I've got the whole thing in there, and I'm going to drain 1 can of pineapple chunks. Now, if you want to use pineapple, crushed pineapple, you can. I'm going to chop these chunks a little bit because crushed is actually better in this dish, but we got chunks, so that's fine, perfectly fine. We can use that too. I'm just going to chop these a little bit. Pineapple is classic in this dish. If you don't like pineapple, you could use, peaches or pears, the canned. You could use fruit cocktail in here if you wanted to. But I'm going to cut this up a little bit just because I want it smaller. I don't want big chunks. Have you ever grilled pineapple? Grilled pineapple's delicious. I grill it and then I put a little bit of brown sugar on there. It's good. Okay, that's good. Now, let's add that straight in here. Well, first of all, let's mix. Now, we've got our whipped topping and our juice. Let me get that out of there first. And I have 1 box of pistachio pudding. Now, pay attention to the pudding. You do not want the cooked kind. You want the instant kind. There's a big difference. And the instant is what you want in this dish. Let me move this so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Before I add anything else, I want to combine all of this. And a whisk is truly the best tool. It's going to turn green because it's pistachio. and just combine the juice of the pineapple. Now, if you were using crushed pineapple, you wouldn't have to drain it. You could just put it all in there. But I like to combine all that first. Now, we're gonna add our pineapple. This is a simple, easy dish. And really, all of these dishes that I am making today would be perfect for like a potluck, or, you know, sometimes you'll go to maybe a dinner after church or something like that. This would be a great make-ahead dish. This will keep in the refrigerator for 2 or 3 days. So if you wanted to make this ahead, except for the nuts, and then just stir in the nuts at the last minute, you could do that. Now, I want about ½ a cup or so of walnuts, but these are halves, and I don't want the big pieces, so I'm just gonna chop them. You could put them in a bag and hit them with a rolling pin if you wanted to chop them up. Sometimes I do that. If I got my kids in the kitchen, when they were little, I let them do that. Now I let them use the knives. My boys are really very good with their knife skills. They're all into knives, let me tell you, the big hunting kind. They love, 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 love knives. But they know, and this is something, you know, if you're got children and you want to let them start using the big knives, teach them. Put one end of the knife on the board, your hands away from the bottom, and then up with the other shoulder. Move the blade, and ever so often gently scrape it together and go a different direction, and that's how you chop. If you're teaching children or yourself, everybody's got to learn, and then that's it. Chop them up pretty fine, and we're going to add some mini marshmallows. Oh, you know, about a cup or so, however many you want. Save the rest for hot chocolate or just eating. Let's get rid of this. Come on, and get a spoon. Now, let's stir all that together. And we will fold in the nuts. And this needs to chill. Oh, you know, about an hour or so. I mean, you could eat it right now, but it will be better if you let it wait just a little bit. And then it will, you know, chill and be good. And that's it, my friend. That's all you need to do for the classic Watergate salad. One of my mother's favorites. She loved it. So we're going to take a break, quick clean up here, and when I come back, our chicken should be done, and we will make our wonderful herbed biscuit bites to go alongside. I'll be back in just a minute. Hi everybody, now welcome back. We have got our chicken baking, our Watergate salad chilling. We're going to make our herbed biscuit bites, and to go alongside that, we're going to make something that is from my childhood. I dearly love macaroni and tomatoes. It's something that my mother made. I guess this is kind of a meal of hers, isn't it? Now, of course, she used her home canned tomatoes, which I don't have here, but I do have one large can of whole plum tomatoes. And I'm going to drain those and let the juice drip down in there, and then when that all drains out, I'm going to chop those. I've got a pot of water coming to a boil. This is one of those times that, now Mom always made this dish with elbow macaroni, and most of the time when I do it, that's what I use. But I have 2 boxes of half-used boxes and 3/4 used boxes of pasta. I don't have enough of either one to make a complete meal with. And I know you probably have the same thing in your kitchen. As long as the shape and size are similar, you can combine your shapes. So I have rotini and I have ziti in here, because they're basically the same shape and size. And so you can combine them, or you can use, the farfalle, the little bow tie pasta. You can use macaroni. You can use anything you wanted that has some kind of texture to it. Now, I would not do spaghetti with this dish, but you see how that has a hole? This has ridges. Well, think about macaroni. That has a hole. Bow tie pasta has ridges in there. The reason that you want something that has something for the sauce to cling on to is otherwise it's just going to slide right off. So, don't know if you knew that or not, but different sauces go better with certain kinds of pasta. My water has not come up to a boil yet, so we're just going to set this aside for a minute and let those drain. And then we're going to get started on our biscuit bites. Now, I have here a stick of butter that I have melted. I prefer butter. Now, some people, you might want to use margarine. That is totally your call. For me, I like butter better. Then I'm going to add some dried dill weed, some dried onion flakes, some dried oregano, and some dried garlic powder. I'm going to stir that up in the bottom of my dish. Just kind of stir it all together and spread it out evenly. This is just the combination of herbs that I like, but you could use what you like if you like different flavors. This would be delicious with the blend called Herbes de Provence. You could use that. You could use anything you wanted, really. These are just the herbs that I chose. Then I'm going to set that to the side. I have a couple of cans of biscuits. If you want to use the smaller biscuits, the 10 count would be fine. Or you could use, like I'm doing, just the bigger ones. I like the Southern style best for this dish. Canned biscuits. Couldn't be simpler. If you want to make your own homemade, go right ahead. But this is about quick and easy. I'm just going to lay these out. This is just going to go in the oven alongside our chicken. We're going to cut these into 4s, and we're going to just lay them right over that butter mixture. And they're going to be fabulous. I'm doing 2 cans because I'm feeding a lot of people here at the studio. I get asked a whole lot, what do you do with the food when you cook it? Well, there's more people here than just me. I know you just see me, but I've got 2 camera people right here. I have a director, got a sound person. So, I have other people here, and they like to eat their lunch, and so that's what happens to all the food, and there's typically never a morsel left. I do get asked a lot. Or I get asked, do you eat all that food? No, I don't. I eat some of it, but I don't eat it all. Because there are other people behind the scenes that you don't see on this program. Our tomatoes are draining. If you have home canned tomatoes, use them. So good. That's what my mama always did. She used her home canned tomatoes. I'm just going to lay these out. I'm going to kind of, put them in there pretty tight because I'm going to fit some more in there. If you want to do this in a smaller dish and just use 1 can, go right ahead. That'd be fine. Any dish will work. You could use a glass pie plate. You could use the smaller square baking dish. You could use any kind of a baking dish that you want. And I don't know if you know this, but as long as you keep them airtight, if you don't use all your biscuits, you can keep them to the next day. I wouldn't keep them much longer than that. But that you could keep them. And what we're doing is we're just tucking them into that butter, and as they bake, they're going to absorb all of those flavors from the butter and the herbs, and they're going to be fabulous. I love these little bites. This is perfect for, you know, a breakfast. You could, if you wanted to, make this a sweeter dish, and you could do the same thing except use butter and cinnamon sugar, or cinnamon and sugar mixed together if you don't have the mixture. Would be fabulous, and bake them the same way. 375 degrees. These are going to take about 10 minutes or so. I'm going to put these in the refrigerator. I might can fit this other one in and bake them off tomorrow. There you go. That's all there is to it. Just make sure they're all got that butter on the bottom. 375 degrees for about 10 minutes while our chicken's baking. Oops, need to move my rack down. That's okay, that happens. Oven's hot. So about 10 minutes, and then those will be absolutely delicious. I am just going to chop up these tomatoes. They've pretty much drained all out. These are whole tomatoes, which I like better for this recipe. Just chop them just like this into, you know, pretty good little chunks. Mom always added a little bit of sugar to hers. I don't when I'm cooking it. If you like to add just a tiny bit of sugar to your tomatoes, I kind of like that tartness. I'm a tart flavor lover. I just really do like real acidic tart type flavors. So I do not add sugar, but if you wanted to add, you know, maybe just like a tablespoon of sugar, you can. Be sure you save all these juices. Now, you could just take your fingers down in the tomatoes and squish them between your fingers if you wanted to. If you do that, be careful, because sometimes it splatters all over you. I sure do miss my mom. You know, my mother passed away about 1.5 years ago. It's been very hard, I just tell you the truth. But canning tomatoes with my mom is one of my fondest memories. And, you know, this year will be the first year that I've done it without her. I didn't do it last year. I just couldn't do it without my mom. But that's one thing she taught me. One of many things that she taught me was how to can tomatoes. And we always canned them together. And there is nothing like home canned tomatoes, let me tell you. They are fabulous. If you've never had them, you are missing a treat. Now, just take your hands and put these back down in the pot, and you want to heat these. So I'm just going to turn them on low. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm just going to put the tomatoes on low. I'm going to put the pasta in to cook. And when I come back, our chicken will be done, our biscuit bites will be done, and our macaroni will be done. And then the best part, we're going to eat. I'll be back in just a minute. All right, now everything is done. Okay, let me just back up just a minute. Our pasta cooked, I drained it, and I just stirred it into the tomatoes that we're heating, and that's it. I mean, that's just a simple, quick, and easy side dish that is, you know, one of those things that my mom made that just brings back so many memories. So there's our macaroni and tomatoes. That's all that's in there, and a little salt. And the crew here did convince me to add a little bit of sugar. So I did add about a teaspoon or so of sugar, because that's truly what my mom did. And so that's what we did here. Now our chicken is done, and this is truly a meal in one. So you would want to serve one of your chicken breasts, and then down in the bottom, see the rice absorbed all of that, the juices, the vegetables all cooked, and you've got your rice and your broccoli and carrots and sugar snap peas and all of that down in the bottom, and your chicken. And then we've been nibbling, I have to confess. Here's what your chicken bites will look like minus the empty corner. Because what happens is as they puff and cook, they absorb all of those juices. And you see, it all goes to the bottom of the biscuit, and they are so good. Oh, we were talking over the break. We're like, okay, you could do so many different things with these, and you really could. You could mix this up any which way you wanted. And our wonderful pistachio pudding for dessert. So here you go, a quick, easy meal for your family. We did our cheesy chicken casserole. On the bottom, we just mixed some frozen mixed vegetables, whatever you like, some cream of chicken soup and some rice, and then put our chicken on it and put some cheddar cheese over top of that. Covered it. Put it in a 375-degree oven, you know, for about 35, 45 minutes until your chicken is cooked through. We made our macaroni and tomatoes, which I just used pasta that I didn't have enough of. You could use elbow macaroni if you wanted. Boiled that, drained it, and added it to just some plain tomatoes. Now, at home, I use my home canned, but if you don't have that, get the whole tomatoes, drain them into the pot, and then chop up the tomatoes, and then add a little bit of sugar if you want with some salt. And then our biscuit bites, our herbed biscuit bites, we just mixed up some herbs in the bottom with some melted butter, quartered some biscuits, the butter tasting biscuits, Southern style biscuits, whatever you like. And then baked those at 375 along with the chicken, and our wonderful pistachio pudding, my mom's favorite. I just have to make that in honor of her. And the macaroni and tomatoes are in honor of my mom. Thank you for joining with me. Try these recipes. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time on Everyday Manna.
Thank you for watching Everyday Manna with Lisa. This program is made possible by viewers like you. Your support is continually needed to keep Christian programming on the air. Please send your best financial gift to Living Faith Television in care of Everyday Manna, P.O. Box 1866.